Okay. Hello. Good evening,
Hello.
everyone. And let me introduce myself first. I'm Sakshi. I am a cognitive hypnotic psychotherapist and a counselor. And I widely practice NLP skills into my practice. And I'm also practicing at Be Seen by Therapist right now. And I also hold a master's background in clinical psychology. So today I'm really very happy and glad that I got an opportunity to share this platform with Mr. Nitin Shah, who is CEO of ICHA's Institute of Clinical Hypnosis and Related Sciences, and he's one of the major influential mentor of mine. And welcome, sir. A very big welcome to you.
Thank you, Sakshi. Thank you for hosting this session today. And oh, I've just lost Sakshi right now. So as Sakshi joins again. Uh, yeah, so we have her. So thank you, Sakshi, for hosting this session today. And I hope this will be an insightful conversation with everyone involved. Looking forward.
Yeah, we hope so. So, sir, today we are going to talk about something that is being taken very casually by people, and it's about bullying, which actually impacts in a long term towards your self esteem, and it actually also makes you question your own identity. It sometimes shapes your identity in the way that you never wanted. So bullying is something that people are still not considering very seriously. It's like a problem that often people casually say it's like a phase, it will pass, and then you will be in a different group or some different institute, generally in childhood, and everything will pass. But nobody realizes that the kind of emotional wounds it leave, it's like a bruise for you, and it reflects through when your behavior, through your emotions, when you are feeling anxiety, when you feel anger, frustration, and you see people, they are having just not so normal people pleasing behavior, and a need to be perfectionist or something like that. So this has happened, and they also often get difficulty to form healthy relationships also, because from past they have trust issues. They always think that they are being targeted. Maybe if somebody is laughing, they are thinking about them, and they are, might be they are talking about them, and it somehow on the long term it crashes their confidence, and they develop this low self esteem also. Sometimes in adulthood, when this is happening and practicing in your workplace, it also crashes your productivity also, because
True.
all the time your thoughts are rotating around those insecurities only that people are trying to inflict in you. So that
True.
is a very big cause. And forbid me for saying that, sadly, if it's happening in your family setup, or in your extended family get together, then it often narrows you down, thinking even your whole existence sometimes. So
Very true.
this is something that I'm also facing when I am having a session with my own clients. I often feel that they are still getting bullied in their workplaces also. This is also one of the major issue, that they lack confidence, and they have very low self esteem, and they are confused about their identity, their roles in their life. So, sir, today it would be really very insightful and helpful for me if you're just going to, put light to certain queries that I'm going to ask from you.
So you've
And
actually already covered and um, summarized the key challenges related to bullying quite well. Feel free to ask, and then let's see where this conversation goes.
so, sir, that leads to my first query, that how bullying altogether, either coming from the childhood or even the persisting practice in every place that's happening, impact a person's self-esteem, and especially when it's not openly talked about or nobody takes it seriously in the environment like us.
So, couple of things, right? First, many a times unknowingly. For example, when I was in a hostel, and there would be some amount of ragging or some amount of bullying, it was almost assumed that this is going to help you become stronger. So the many a times for people who are bullying, uh, their understanding itself at times is, oh, I'm doing this because someone is weak and it will help them become stronger. So that's one part of the problem. And then the second part of the problem, that when this happens, the person who's being bullied is constantly told this, that because you're weak, this is happening. Because you couldn't take care of yourself, this is happening. And even if I'm not being told this, because I can see myself being bullied, that becomes the most natural interpretation for many people. That is there something wrong with me? They are not picking up on everyone, they're just picking up on me. So maybe I've done something wrong, maybe I deserve this. And all of these self indictments, this blame that we put on ourselves when we are bullied, uh, obviously has a long term implication as far as the self esteem is concerned. As an extension of this, now once this has happened in the childhood and these ideas have taken shape in my mind, eventually when I experience bullying in other areas, the same interpretation keeps coming up over and over again, that maybe this is being done to me because I made a mistake, maybe because I'm wrong. And all of this continues to impact the self esteem of the person on an ongoing basis.
Yeah. And I can see that this is how, you develop a mindset altogether that this is going to happen. I just have one small message to the viewer.
In fact, before you go ahead, right? Uh, so I've had clients literally saying this to me, that maybe this is happening to me because I'm being punished for something that I've done. Or maybe this is happening to me because I just deserve this kind of a treatment. So it literally at times influences the client's beliefs about themselves and the world around them. Okay, we've just lost um, Sakshi again. So she's joined again. Perfect. Yes, Sakshi.
Yes. Yeah, so I can see that this is how a small influence can develop a belief in you that could last quite longer. And I have just one small message for the viewers that if any part of this discussion, this whole session is something that impacts you or you resonate with it, I would appreciate that you leave a like to us. And any question that you want to ask, any query, then please feel free to write in a comment section. And sir, that leads me to my next query that I want to know about the connection between this bullying and the long term effect and issues that gets developed after that, like anxiety and people pleasing behavior, this need of becoming perfectionist.
See, so think of it this way, right? Like we just discussed in the previous question, that if this bullying is influencing my self esteem, if it's bringing me to a conclusion that maybe I deserve it, that maybe it was my mistake. So now, if it was my mistake, if I deserve this bullying, what would I try to do? To avoid this bullying, I would probably try to either please someone, or if I'm not able to, then I'll try to avoid them, right? And I'm not just avoiding them, because the moment, see, when I'm being bullied, it's almost like my survival is at stake. For me, it's a fight flight mechanism. So the moment that fight flight triggers, I'm perpetually on a high alert, which is where anxiety comes into play, because anxiety is really trying to keep me alert in this context, to ensure that I am constantly on the lookout for any danger, for any bully. Now, what is the next thing that I will do? I would try to please people around me, hoping that they would not bully me, or I would try to avoid them. All of these together leave a major impact in the way I live my life. This could, it's not just about anxiety, right? This anxiety could have a ripple effect in the way in which you mentioned earlier, that it may prevent me from focusing on my work completely, because I'm constantly looking out for a bully and I'm not able to focus on the work that I'm supposed to do. It could also impact my relationships, because even a small incident in the relationship may remind me of the bully, like a um, like a trauma being relived. And then even those experiences which are not really about bullying may be felt by me like I'm being bullied. So it can really have a lasting impact on multiple areas of my life.
True. Yeah, the,
I've had clients telling me that there have been times when I've thought that I want to just, the only way I think I can end this all is by ending my life. So it could reach to the extent of having suicidal ideations as well.
and we have witnessed it a lot many times, which is a very sad reality of our society that still we are
And
considering very casually.
correct. So many a times when in earlier, so nowadays at least I've noticed that the degree of ragging has reduced, at least based on the conversation that I have with people now. But at one point of time, the ragging bit was so bad. There were so many people who would lose their life simply because they would not be able to handle the ragging, which was basically another form of bullying.
Yeah, I completely agree, sir. But now it's not a ragging or it's like a punishment. It's like more of emotional abuse, emotional ragging that also make I on this I also want to have an insight of you that see the childhood bullying is different and how it is different from a person who's experiencing adulthood bullying, especially at their workplaces and their relationship and their social circle, because
So
it
when
doesn't
some,
comes like in a physical way.
so when someone has experienced bullying while growing up, right? See, growing up years are our formative years. So in those years, if I've already acknowledged the idea that it's my fault, I am not good enough, I don't deserve this. If this is the idea that has got formed in my mind, if this is the belief that I've kind of developed, then coping with even adult uh, bullying becomes very difficult because it's simply an extension of that, and it literally is almost like the trauma keeps getting added on top of the same. So my ability to handle today's bullying, if those ideations took place earlier, becomes even more difficult. Then there is the other situation of people who were not bullied in the childhood, but now they're in a workspace where the environment is toxic and they are being bullied, or they're experiencing a sense of bullying, whether physical to khair kam hoga in workplace, but more emotional. Generally speaking, if your formative years have gone on well and you have developed the kind of skills and the confidence that you needed to develop, in most cases people would actually look for an exit from such work environment. It may not happen immediately, it may take them time, but in the at the back of their mind they know that, you know what, this is not the right workspace for me because I have not experienced this earlier. So not all workspaces are like this. Now, whether they're able to look for an alternate job or not, find an alternate job or not, that's a separate situation. But at least they're capable generally of doing that. Now, if they stay in that space for too long, in a prolonged manner, then there is a possibility that slowly and gradually those beliefs may start forming in them also. But it's relatively unlikely. Then comes the next part, that when you have been when you were growing up and during the growing up years when you went through all this bullying, you're not even willing to look for alternate jobs because the the mental makeup is, I've had this in my childhood, I'm having this in my workspace, the world is like this. So what is the point of finding an alternate job? So that's the distinction, that generally if people have gone through more functional upbringing and they were not exposed to these kind of issues at high intensity and they developed strong self-esteem, strong self-worth, then the chances that adulthood bullying would impact them to that degree will be relatively low, also because they would then start looking for alternates to move out of that space.
Definitely, sir. Upbringing has a big
but,
role.
but this also depends upon the circumstances, because not everyone may have the opportunity, though they may realize that this workplace is not the right workplace for me. Sometimes people may not have the kind of opportunity, or there may be other factors that are stopping them from exploring opportunities. So then it may also have a long-term ramification.
Yeah. So, sir, since we just spoke about the upbringing, so that makes me think, and I also want your opinion on that. That there is this sibling bullying that happens in the family also, the family dynamics of a person, and sometimes it can. amplify the effect also on other person. And often this kind of bullying, like the elder brother is bullying your younger sibling or vice versa, that goes unnoticed, but it I believe it gives you a big impact on developing your self-esteem. So on this, what is your opinion about the family dynamics that shapes the personality of person?
So, a couple of things, right? Let's first talk about what we were discussing earlier. So, if I'm being bullied outside my house, what would be my first instinct? I would like to share this with someone in my family, right? But my family has to provide me with that safe space where I feel safe, I feel comfortable enough to go and talk to them and tell them this. Now, if I'm being bullied in the house also, then will I actually be able to talk about this? Will I actually be able to share this? The answer is no. So, that environment which was required for me being able to create a safety net around me actually comes from the family. And if in the family itself I'm being bullied, then that becomes a lot more difficult. So that's one part of the story. Second, if I'm being bullied in sorry, if I'm being bullied in my family itself, so the one area where I would have hoped I can trust people around me to protect me. If they are the ones who are indulging in bullying me, what would be my opinion about people externally? How safe or unsafe will I feel with those people? So the chances are it will also impact the way I'm interacting with people outside. So yeah, that formative years, that family dynamics, and to a large extent even the school dynamics, because beyond a point we spend more time in our school than we spend with our family. All of this together plays a very very important role.
Uh, so there are any observable subtle signs of a person that can be visible that they are carrying these invisible scars in their personality, or some personality traits or behavior that they reflect amongst us. Very good.
So let me put it this way: when bullying starts, right? So I'm going to divide these symptoms in two categories. One is where a child was not being bullied, and then the bullying is started. Now, what are the symptoms that will help you recognize that the child is being bullied? So, some of the symptoms will be you will notice a shift in the child's behavior, an observable dramatic shift in the child's behavior. You may notice a child withdrawing, may not want to go to certain places. A part of it is because probably those are the places where they're being bullied. So many a times when children say that I don't want to go to school, we end up thinking that oh, they may not have done the homework, or they may not like a subject, they may not like a teacher. The idea that maybe they're also being bullied in the school and therefore they don't want to go to school, for most people doesn't even come to their mind. So that's one thing that we need to look out for. That if the child is resisting going to a place where they were going comfortably earlier, or if there's a dramatic shift in their behavior, or if they are becoming very withdrawn, then these are telltale signs that something is going wrong. Now, there could be multiple things that are going wrong. Bullying would be one of the possibilities. Similarly, when you're adults, generally you will notice that adults one is withdrawal. They would either try to withdraw, they would try to please people a lot. There would always also be a possibility where they would keep constantly demeaning themselves, right? Where there are tendencies where people keep taking the blame on themselves. Oh, this would be my fault. This would be my fault. This is my mistake, and so on. Um, there would also be a possibility of pleasing people extensively. So these will be some of the telltale signs that you can look out for.
Okay. Uh, so let's, since we spoke broadly about
Okay, so we have just lost Sakshi again, and she's back again.
through the behavior and I really apologize for my connection. Maybe it's from my end. I don't know.
No issues.
So we also get to know that how we develop this and how the identity, a very important thing for a person, gets shaped because of and get traumatized and got scars and everything, and how the role of family also involves in this and how it's different from the childhood. Now, sir, I want to talk about approaches also that could be helpful for people who are suffering, or people who see somebody around them who they notice that going through this. So majorly I want to ask that the role of hypnotherapy, that how it's helpful in healing such internalizing belief that a person is carrying since very long time through bullying.
So I'll first talk about therapy in general, and then we'll come to hypnosis towards the end to understand how hypnosis enhances this entire thing. So if you are a therapist working with a client who has been bullied, and that is impacting multiple areas of their life, then obviously that bullying in most cases started when they were young. So you may need to help the client go back to that space and be able to heal that part of them that that went through that particular experience or series of experiences that they've gone through. How would you do that? You will first need to help the client broadly define the problem that they are currently facing in their life. What are the desired outcomes that they are looking for? These will be more present based. These are not really related to bullying, unless the bullying is also continuing today. But generally, people will come to you with certain symptoms about what's not working for them in the present. Their relationship is going for a toss, they're pleasing people a lot, and all the other things that we spoke about earlier. So help them define the problem, help them define the outcome. Then identify which are the trigger points where the current problem exists. Those trigger points will give you an entry point. When you notice a pattern, that there are multiple similar trigger points or multiple similar behaviors or emotions that the client is struggling with, this is an indicator that we need to explore something deeper than simply the symptoms that the client is coming to us. So for this, whatever that symptom is, let's say the client says, I have a tendency to please people a lot. Right? Now they're not talking about bullying right now. They may not even know that this is a result of bullying. Since they are right now talking about I have a tendency to please people, begin from here. Help people delayer where this problem is coming from. Now, there can be multiple ways of delayering. You could use extensive questioning skills, narratives, and help the clients discuss their understanding of where the problem is coming from. Help them verbalize what are their narratives about their own lives, which will be one way. You can also use certain structured delayering processes. You can use free association from psychodynamic. Dreams can provide you with a lot of insights if clients have recurring um, traumatic dreams or recurring nightmares. They will give you insights. Or you could use, like Sakshi mentioned earlier, certain hypnotic processes to help clients delayer their presenting problem to help them reach the deeper layer. Once you reach the deeper layer, in that deeper layer, the client will come to one of two or three things. Either they will talk about certain past experiences where they were bullied, which then is an indicator that obviously this presenting issue is coming from bullying. Or they will tell you about certain emotions that they experienced as a child. Either ways, when you talk about those emotions, you'll realize that those emotions were, when you help the client explore the experiences where they felt these emotions, would then eventually take you back to certain bullying experience. Now with this, you will use different therapies to be able to help the client address that trauma that the child experienced while being bullied. The way to address this is help the client explore that trauma or that experience, help the client be able to release whatever were the emotions associated to that particular memory, help the client identify what were the skills they needed to develop to be able to ensure that in future they would never have to go through something similar to this, or at least they'll be more prepared to address or handle bullies. So release, identify required skills, replace the released emotions with something more appropriate. So, for example, if they were afraid, then see if you can replace it with confidence, with courage. There are multiple other such emotions that you can ask the client that the client wants to replace the original emotion with, and then help them apply these skills, these emotions going forward in the future, where they can actually imagine themselves being in a situation where there's someone who is trying to bully them, and they're able to actively use this newfound skill, these new emotional states, to be able to address or manage that particular conversation or situation with that bully. In between all of this, if required, because there are times when clients will tell you that there are these past um, experiences that pop up in my mind, and then all of a sudden I almost imagine or feel as if I'm like that child. So it's almost like a PTSD for them. In which case, you may also need to use double disassociation to help clients witness that memory from a distance and be able to reprocess the entire memory. It may be one memory or it may be series of memories. So to summarize, everything that we are doing would include delayering the emotion or the problem, identifying the core issue, releasing whatever is the emotion associated to the core issue, replacing it with something more effective, more appropriate, identifying the skills that they need to develop to be in a better position to handle such a situation going forward, future pacing those situations to ensure that they are better equipped to handle that in future, and if required reprocessing the memory to help the client ensure that they are not affected by those flashes if those flashes come back in memory. This becomes like an overall comprehensive therapeutic approach that we will follow. Now where hypnosis comes into play, um, to connect to the unconscious, to help them release those past experiences, to help them reprocess the memory altogether, to actually create double disassociation where the client is able to witness that memory. All of this can be done very effectively using the hypnotic state. Plus, all of these emotions that are suppressed, where are they suppressed? They are suppressed in the unconscious. So, hypnosis then becomes that tool to help the client connect to the unconscious and then do everything else that I've just shared with you.
Okay. That's really very insightful and inclusive of all. So there is another question that would also help the practicing therapist and coach, and this is for them specifically. Can you recommend some specific NLP and visualization tools that we can use to reframe these, past bullying traumatic memories in the life of victim?
So the structure will remain the same what I've shared with you. Now for each of those things, you can look at a different technique. It can come from NLP or somewhere else. So right now, because you asked me about NLP, I'm specifically now only going to talk about the NLP processes. So in order to help the client explore those memories, you can use a process called kinesthetic visual disassociation. It's basically a process where the client kind of partially regresses. You take them back to a time when they remember the earliest memory of being bullied. And in that memory, then you use double disassociation so that the client can observe that memory and reprocess that memory. So that will be one technique. Second is if there are specific trigger points. So, for example, the client may say, you know what, when I look at my school photo album, then all of a sudden those images come to my mind. So now it's not just the experience, there's also a trigger that reminds them of the experience. So you may also want to switch that particular trigger memory association. So you can use something like swish to be able to change that association, right? You can use multiple submodality processes to be able to reduce the intensity of what the client may have experienced in that process. Though all of these things, to an extent, whether it's reducing the intensity, working with Swish, will be a part of visual kinesthetic disassociation. And lastly, you can also use parts integration. But like I said again, in visual kinesthetic disassociation, at the end, once you have helped the client process that memory altogether, you will help the client connect back to the part of them that experienced the trauma and help them integrate that part. So that one process takes care of multiple things. But individually, if you're looking for names of techniques, it will be swish, um, double disassociation, parts integration, and anchoring for sure. These will be the four processes for sure, apart from visual kinesthetic disassociation.
What are these? Okay. So, sir, now I want to ask you that after practicing internally so much and developing this belief and carrying this for so many years, if a person takes a step and the steps we and the approaches we just spoke about, can they, with the help of them, can a person who has been victimized for bullying since very long time can regain their sense of identity and confidence again fully?
Okay, I don't know what fully means because fully by itself is a very vague kind of a term, right? I don't know how to define fully, but I'll say it this way that what I need to develop to be able to live a happier, healthier, and more fulfilling life. Okay, I can. As long as I'm willing to take the steps required. In this context, it will be I'm willing to go to a therapist and work with a therapist. The rest is the therapist skills to be able to help you. and if the therapist is skilled with all the things that you've spoken about, then they should be able to help the client. For some clients, it can happen in few sessions. For some clients, it may take some extra sessions. So I can't really commit how many sessions will be required. It can be anywhere between probably 6 sessions to 20 sessions. But will the person notice the benefits in their life? The answer is yes. Will they be able to reach a space where they are able to live, again, a relatively normal life? The reason I'm saying relatively normal, because normal itself is a very relative term from people to people. But can they live a happier, healthier, fulfilling life which they are happy about? The answer is yes.
That's a very positive answer that I was looking for, and I'm really glad to hear that because it's in sense makes even the viewers very positive about the whole session that we just conducted. Sir, on this note, I also want to ask you in a generic form that how communities, schools, and family can give a emotionally safe environment and what roles they can play so that the silent suffering can can get even further reduced. And like I want to quote something. uh, there is an example of a child who just got bullied. We get bullied for so many reasons. Sometimes the way we look, sometimes for our even for the silliest thing, for our names and
Sakshi, I've just lost you. I'm not sure whether my connection is lost or yours is lost. Let me just check. Sakshi, can you hear me? Okay. All those of you who are watching us live, if you can hear me, please type yes and let me know that you can hear me. Okay.
hear
We
me.
have Sakshi joining us again.
Okay. Yeah, I'm back. So, sir, I was talking about like so many forms in which you get bullied. And especially like if I'm talking about the community in school, nobody takes accountability, even the people who are authority figures. Like, for example, a teacher who did not physically abused a child, but because of some reason, sarcastically, she labeled a child. And voila, नामकरण हो गया बिल्कुल totally. And the identity of that child is now defined by that particular label that teacher put on that child. And she is out of the scene, no accountability, but child is suffering because teacher was there to label him. So I mean, this is really very serious and nobody is there to take even accountability of that. So
See, so it's not just even a question of accountability. Many a times, those teachers don't even realize it. For example, when I was young, like when I was in the school, I used to be really short, right? Two of my favorite teachers had given me names. One had given me the name of Chuha, and another one had given me the name of Kaluvitrana. Okay, and these were two people who, in a way, adored me in the sense that I was one of their favorites. So for them, they did not realize that for that this can have such a lasting impact. It was almost like that was their way of expressing their love towards me, right? But once they use that name, okay, like you said, it gets stuck with you. So that happens, and yes, it's true. But like I said, many a times teachers don't even realize that. So it's important to even psychoeducate the teachers when we are talking about creating a safe environment for the child in the school and in the family. Many a times it's simply that family members and school authorities don't even realize the implications of these small things. So therefore, psychoeducating them, making them aware these sessions, not just with children. So children ke sath, to obviously there should be sessions to ensure that children realize the importance of talking up, realize that it's if it's happening with them, it's not their fault. That there's someone else who's responsible, and those people need to be brought up to the respective authorities. But you also need to psychoeducate the teachers, the school staff, the parents, because even if the child brings it up to them, and if they don't take it seriously, right? Well, imagine if I was called another name by someone in my friend circle, right? And I went to the teacher and telling her that, ma'am, he's calling me XYZ. Now it's the same ma'am who's calling me chuha. What, what do I expect her to do with this guy? So, to create that safe space, it's extremely important to be able to create that awareness amongst the teachers. Nowadays, luckily, the awareness levels are relatively higher. Okay, so living in the social media age has its own repercussion. It also has its own benefits. The scale at which the awareness exists is also higher, but then also the scale at which bullying exists is different. So it needs to be taken care of. It needs that awareness needs to be created.
Yeah, certain high standard rules are also being implemented in colleges and schools, and even laws has been passed for bullying and ragging, etc. And I will say that even family role, like if the family starts developing a skill and start understanding, and even if needed, and gets a counseling for themselves, in case if they are not, if either they are the victim of this thing and they have not processed it rightly, or that same behavior, and they have that same attitude for their child. So I think so that is also very important for them to
So
learn. Very
creating that awareness amongst parents, amongst teachers is extremely important. There are a lot of good NGOs doing that work, but obviously a lot more needs to be done. Also, there needs to be more things to be done where there are avenues available where children can reach out, seek help without necessarily feeling that seeking help would lead to repercussions for them.
okay. That's really good. And such initiatives should be more for kids.
Yeah.
And so, sir, lastly, I want to have your addressal and a message to people or a person who might be seeing this live session or maybe later on see on YouTube, that they have already shaped themselves in this belief since very long time, that nothing can be happen for me and this is what I am and all those beliefs because of bullying. So what would be your message for them, how you will going to address them?
So there are two parts to it, right? There are certain people who already recognize that what is happening with me is a result of the fact that I've been bullied over the years. And now they feel that but no one can help me. So to them, the message is simple that help is available. There is a lot that can be done, but it's always better that you take that first initiative to seek help, right? Because if even if there are people around you who are trying to help you, when they do try to help you, at times that help itself may feel so forceful that you may feel that you're being bullied. So if you have gone through an experience like this, and if you feel that this has shaped my life and is influencing my life negatively, even if you feel that nothing can help me, please still go out, seek help, reach out to any of the cognitive hypnotic psychotherapists. They've all been trained to address and work with these kind of issues. So, and I'm sure they will be able to help you with this. Um, then there are people who had been bullied. They know they were bullied. They're experiencing certain issues today, but they're not able to make that connect. That, oh, I'm going through this because there were certain ideas, opinions that I formed about myself while I was bullied earlier. Right? Even to them, if you're facing a challenge, you may not know where the cause of the challenge is coming from. Right? But if you have a emotional issue, if you have a behavioral issue, if you feel that you could do better than what you're doing right now, at least connect to a practitioner. Seek help, see what happens next. Most of the practitioners, especially the ones who practice cognitive hypnotic psychotherapy, do offer the initial consultation for free. So you really have nothing to lose. But in that initial consultation, you'll at least understand whether therapy can help you or not. So find the right practitioner, reach out to them, book their initial consultation, and then let the decision be made based on the conversation you've had with them.
Mm. It's been a very, very insightful session, sir, and quite reassuring to my own learnings also. And yes, definitely, as a practitioner, I'm definitely going to implement lot of things that you just told me in the right chronology now on. And now, sir, I think so. The session is open. If somebody has a question, they can ask you.
So I think we are live on YouTube. So let me just check if we have any of the questions on YouTube right now. Though generally I've noticed that the questions end up coming later on after the live is over. Okay, so let me just check that once. Meanwhile, for those of you who are watching us, if you are interested in exploring the cognitive hypnotic psychotherapy modality, check out the iChar's website, check out the cognitive hypnotic psychotherapy course. If you are a practicing psychologist, this is a model, this is an approach that I would highly, highly recommend for you to explore. I don't see any comments right now or any questions right now. So, if you have any questions, please feel free to leave it in the chat box. And I would, okay, so there are comments and questions. Let me just check that. So, Bhanumati ji has asked, are bullying and power struggle the same? Um, Sometimes yes, sometimes no. You can't really necessarily say that they are always the same. Um how to avoid the bullied person from bullying the person in future again. So see, when you are working with someone who's been bullied, eventually it will boil down to them developing the skills, the art, and the emotional capability to be able to handle that bully. Now, handling that bully could mean facing the bully, could mean reporting the bully, it could mean multiple things depending upon people that we are talking about and depending upon the circumstances that they are in. But that's the role that you play to help them develop those required skills, get into that required emotional state, provide that safe space to be able to do what they need to do. And then you can use a lot of mental rehearsals so that they are better equipped to handle those situations in future. Okay, and then Ria has also asked, why does a person who has never been bullied also turn into a bully nevertheless? See, like I said earlier, many a times people don't really know that they are bullying. And this is not to justify their behavior. This is just to help you understand how at times the lack of awareness is so prevalent that yes, sometimes people bully knowing that they are bullying. And there are other times when people are doing what they are doing, not really realizing that the others are experiencing being bullied as a result of their experience. So, which is one part of the story. Second, even if someone has not been bullied, right? If bullying someone makes me feel more powerful, and because of certain circumstances that I have in my life, I am not feeling powerful enough, I'm feeling powerless, then I want to experience the power somewhere. And that's where bullying can come in. And for certain people, it could just be an observed behavior. They've observed other people doing it, they've enjoyed it being done to someone, and then all of a sudden they feel that if they can do it, I can also do it. So there could be multiple factors why someone who has not been bullied may end up becoming a bully. There is no standard, consistent answer that I can give you for everyone. So I think with that we have covered the questions in the comments. If any of you have any other questions, then please leave them in the comment box. We will look at them in one of the subsequent sessions, and I will answer those questions, especially during the Friday Q&A session. So we will begin with the questions that may not have been answered in the live today. Start with those questions on Friday, and then take up the other questions that we take up every week. With this, I think we have come to the end of this session. So thank you very much, Sakshi, for hosting us, for taking this session forward. This has been a very interesting conversation for me. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Good evening.
So thank you everyone once again. And for those of you who have not yet been following us, please follow us, please like us, leave a comment, and check out the courses that ICAS has to offer. Thank you. Good night. Bye bye. Take care.
Thank you, sir.